The following podcast may contain strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Hallmark of Greatness Last Orders, the podcast that looks back into the films our Hallmark favourite actors and directors would rather forget they were ever involved with. I'm Joe, and with me as always, filing a complaint with his local council after they refused to acknowledge his new gang, the Runstable Spoons, it's James.
I feel like a pile of shit out of somebody's asshole today.
And a man who was Mr. Nottingham's Wood Pusher of the Year 1987 and 88, it's Mark. It's been a day.
Fucking hell. You've got a happy new haircut for the podcast, Joe.
I had to
Showed
go.
us an audio feed.
I had to go to a wedding, didn't I? And
You did?
according to my wife, I had to go like someone who lives inside. So,
Inside of what?
a house.
Bronx?
No, not if it was the Bronx. I'd have shown up to the wedding dressed as a meter maid or something.
You should have done.
But the gang would have been called like the Soup Jockeys or something. 'Cause none of it made any sense. I had to get a haircut. And then I was an hour in there to get this done. He spent ages fannying about.
Really?
Yeah, ages.
The look on James's face suggests an hour for that.
Well, I'm sure I've told you this. He was like, "Oh, do you want me to do your eyebrows?" I was like, "No," and he did them anyway. And I was like, "I'm not paying for the eyebrows. I just wanted a haircut." Like
It's when they set fire to a lighter fluid covered sponge shove
Yeah.
it in your ears and that.
The first time I went in, I had all that done because I thought, "Oh, I'll treat myself," because like I hadn't shaved in ages and my face was angry. Like, yeah, he could tell he was begrudgingly having to do it, and I was like, "Hey, for 38 quid, pal, you're shaving all of it. I'm gonna be ball
What?
sack out."
The
Yeah.
money you pay in the city. Christ, I'm glad I live under a fucking rock in the middle of a
No.
field.
It was a haircut, shampoo, eyebrow trimmed, like all that shit pushed up your nose and your ears and your stuff, like the wax shite that when they put it in and it's hot, don't breathe in through your nose because it goes right up into like here, and then you have like a tiny problem when they try and rip it out, and your eye socket comes with it a wee bit. The guy's got to like put his foot on your forehead to pull it out.
23 quid in the frozen north, that.
If you want to keep up to date with upcoming film choices and that, you can follow us on Twitter at Hallmark of Great, all one word, or you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Hallmark of Greatness. Or if you work for Norm and the company and want to recommend a film to us, you can email us at hallmarkofgreatness@gmail.com.
What fucking film is Norm not in?
I'm thinking we should just only do Norm
Normcast.
films, yeah,
Normcast, love it, yeah.
because he's great in this. He always plays the same character.
Was he the same character in that Michael Jackson video?
I imagine that was...
Macaulay Culkin's Space Dad.
It's what happened when he got sucked off through the window.
What? Him or Macaulay Culkin?
Well,
Michael Jackson's... Anyway.
Wait, sucked out or sucked off? Because there's a version of this film, I think, that I've not seen.
That's the X-rated cut that didn't get distribution. Oh, no, wait. That's
Oh
just
my
all the
God.
film, isn't it? Because, yeah. Well, we are talking about, of course... 1996's Space Truckers. Little horn there for the Space Truckers at the end. James, let us fire up the Machino thing.
I nearly sucked the carpet off the floor there. That's the sound of the splendid plot contraption of futurity. And you two have been designated its decent chief admirals of caressing.
I think I'm a decent admiral of caressing.
I'd get that put on a lanyard if I were you.
I'm like, it's fine. The caressing.
Hoping one of us would be captain and the other to Neil.
To Neil, to you.
Yep. Space Truckers, 1996. This is about Miranda Space, who is a local cake journalist who must direct a local kids' theatre production, or else Bayless will be round in the morning. Along the way, Miranda encounters Kirk Trucker, a dog judge who is sensitive to vibrations. A crisis ensues when she is skinned alive and the pair have to set aside their differences. Will they surrender to an unspoken passion? My reply is no.
She wants to
I mean-
watch out for salt.
Being skinned alive. Yeah, that took a dark.
It took a sudden dive there, didn't it? Yeah.
That is, of course, not the real synopsis for 1996's Space
No, it
Truckers.
is not.
A space trucker and his cute fiancée are on their way from a space station to Earth with an unknown cargo.
Space cargo.
Space cargo. When space pirates space hijack them, 5,000 disintegrator space robots are found in the space cargo. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. But I am going to say, without a shadow of a doubt, this is the best film I've ever seen on this show.
It's not aftermath worthy. I mean, we'll talk it out. We'll have a discussion, but I don't feel like it is there.
No.
All it was missing was a couple of musical numbers.
Yes, I mean that would have brought it up, no
Yeah.
doubt. But this has got
I
a $25
know.
million dollar budget, by the way.
Sorry, how much?
$25 million.
Wow.
Aftermath had I don't know. I think he pawned something in order to
You
make
can
that.
see every cent of that on screen. They spent it all on fishing line. Oh, let's get into it. We're open. Approaching the planet, I want to say Triton?
Yep, Triton, moon of
Yep.
Neptune.
Yep, one of the many moons of Neptune.
One of the ice planet Hoth template planets.
There's only 4, isn't there? Forest planet, fire planet. It's Captain Planet. Planets, isn't it? You just don't want to go to the Heart planet. 'cause
Heart
that's rubbish.
planet, yeah.
It features lots of ice and a futuristic Tracy Island at the middle of it.
Yes, where we are introduced to our, I would say, antagonists of the film, Sags.
Sarg, I put down. Stay
Oh,
with it.
like it means tasty.
Indian for spinach, and Charles Dance. I couldn't get his
Dr.
name.
Charles Dance, yeah.
Dr.
He's got
Charles
another
Dance.
name later on.
Space
He goes-
John Lennon.
He goes by
Oh.
many names. I
Oh,
will
I'm going to create some sort of robot with a sexy bottom.
Oh, blimey! I will say the reason that this film is so good is because we don't get 1, we don't get 2, we get 3 Charles Dance death sequences. Right? Even Game of Thrones only got 1, and he was shot on the toilet, which is like the best way to die, isn't
I
it?
just want to disclose at this point that Charles Dance is made to do so many things that he should never have been asked to
I
do.
was going to say,
and
did
it
he
is
owe
so
people
good
money?
for it. People need to watch this film.
This
It
is how
needs to
we
be
got
seen to be
the
believed.
golden toilet that he was shot on in Game of Thrones
Because
from being in this film.
Charles Dance, amazingly brilliant actor. He's great in this, but why is he in this? Did he have a big tax bill or something? Or
I
like,
assume he maybe didn't declare all of the money that he got for being the bad guy in Last Action Hero.
yeah.
Golden ticket, my ass, McBain.
Anyway, he's in this big militaristic sciencey room and with so many goons. I put that it's quite a large luge team because they were wearing those helmets with a bit of a slope at the back.
Oh, I thought they'd got one of those laser quest things that you could get in like the early 90s with the big fuck off helmets, and they just covered them in tinfoil.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that is
But
wild.
they're locking the base down because something is approaching. So like, and then like they keep this door open for ages, and then they go lock it down, and then it's like they move the door slightly, and a bolt comes in. I was like, why didn't you just do that in the first place? But whatever. And there's like a full battalion of people there with guns and like mini guns and other laser guns from the future.
And non-union Russian Vicky McClure.
Yes. And we get to, I think, is it supposed to be a tank that's outside?
Yeah, there's some patrol tanks or something outside, and then one by one you see the screens going static, which is a good classic thing of shit going down on the perimeter.
Also means you don't have to pay for explosions. Think about
yes, Yeah,
It also
yeah,
means
that
your
happens
film
a
was
lot.
released before 1999,
it.
when everything went digital. Sorry, digital with a K.
Digital with a K. And he's like, there's something out here. Oh, I'm going to shoot it. Oh, I've exploded and I'm dead. Literally. And then they cut to another tank, and like Sags is like, what's happening? The other tank's like, that explodes. And then it's like, it's coming through the door, and the door does this brilliant heating up sequence or something, like acetylene torches its way through
It was
it.
very much like that very first scene in Phantom Menace. where they
Yeah.
use the lightsaber
Yeah,
to get through
yes.
the door. Now I remember being absolutely astounded by that, but that's because when I saw Phantom Menace, I hadn't seen this piece of shit, which actually is better for that scene. Yeah.
I think this is better than Phantom Menace.
Whoa, Joe! It's been 18 years. Let
Yeah.
Phantom Menace go.
I don't care how
Jar
many
Jar.
50p's you've got.
Everyone hates you but me.
Everyone hates you but me, sir.
Oh.
And this, I would say, half shoulder-mounted predator cannon, half sexy xenomorph alien.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
I wish I had this ass.
Yeah. Or it just looks like any sort of hunter from Destiny. It's very like it comes through and is it firing lasers out of its head?
Like out of its eyes, I thought.
Right.
You know, like it's got like
It's got a triangle.
Yeah, and are they meant to be eyes and a mouth? So are we meant to look at it and go, okay, it's got a human face? Or are we meant to go, it looks like fucking Soundwave out of Transformers? Shockwave.
Ain't nobody looking at the face. It's all about the ass with these things.
Damn right. Clap, clap,
Yeah.
clap.
And it comes in and they open fire on it and it does nothing to this thing. It's like unkillable. It lasers people and like all their legs fall off.
Now, not only that, but all their legs fall off and go green bubbly, purple bubbly, and all the way through, there's either legs going green bubbly or walls going green bubbly, purple
Yeah.
bubbly. I think that this was some unfinished. I think that these bits were meant to be CGI'd blood.
Possibly.
And I think the bits of the wall were meant to be CGI'd fire.
Yeah,
but weren't.
could be.
Yeah, because it all looks the same.
My theory was everything in the future is made of Hubba Bubba.
That's a better idea.
It's
Much
just
better concept.
it's no worse than anything else in this film. It murders like everyone. The guy that turns around and is non-union Sulu is like, it's in the room, sir. It's like, I can see that. And then as it gets closer, it's about to kill Sags and Charles Dance. He gives it the old click, car click, and it deactivates. And it turns out that Sags and Charles Dance work for the company.
All right, Paul Reiser.
Which, yeah, it's very the company. It's very, yeah. And this is 5 years technology above what anyone else has got. Although no other companies are ever mentioned. It's just the company.
The company, yeah.
The company, the electric company.
They're well ahead of Starbucks by 5 years.
They probably pay their taxes, that's why.
Hi-oh.
And he's like, great, give me the clicker. He gives him the clicker. He says it won't hurt. It's got like Robocop protocols built in. But Charles Dance hasn't, like a fool, put himself on the whitelist. And so Sags goes, yeah, kill Charles Dance. And it goes, boo, and then we don't actually see him die. And then we get Space Trucking.
Yes, the opening credits with a folksy tune.
Yeah.
The weirdest part of the film for me was
Willie
this
Nelson,
decision.
mate. Yeah. It's not Willie Nelson, but it's...
No, it's not.
There's quite a few bits, certainly only at this bit, like this particular quarter of the film, where it's a bit like that bit out of Blues Brothers where they go to Bob's Country Bunker. Right? And everywhere is like this and sounds like this.
Yes. And we are introduced to Dennis Hopper, who is in this for some reason. I think he thought he was going to be in something else, and then they just kept pushing him on set and were like, improvise.
They told him it was
Improvise,
Easy
Dennis.
Rider in space, and he was like, yeah, goddamn.
I love his name in this.
John
Canyon.
Canyon.
Yeah. Canyonero. They should have
Derek
had that playing
Gorge.
over the top.
Yeah. Ivan Valley. It's, yeah. And he's driving his space rig, which has got flames painted up the fucking side of it. And he's hauling a load of
Square
hogs.
Pigs.
Genetically squared pigs, like those Japanese melons in the
Oh, yeah.
90s. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember Japanese melons in the 90s?
Remember?
You were meant to pay 700 yen for one, which probably wasn't a lot. But specifically, I noticed he was enjoying CGI space mustard. Oh my god, this CGI made me feel sick.
This was not CGI. It was on strings.
No.
No, but it isn't at first. There's a CGI bit at first.
Oh, with
and
the
then
bit of
the
mustard.
CGI goes onto the thing, and the CGI vanishes, and all of a sudden there's a quick flick, and it's a hot dog with mustard on a string.
Yep, it's beautiful.
It's
for some
dog shit.
reason he's eating a hot dog in space while waiting to have a go on the Smiler at Alton Towers as well.
Yeah, that
'Cause,
strappy thing in that
the
they've got.
seatbelt thing that they have in spaceships is a over the top harness that they have on roller coasters, which
I
kind of
like-
makes sense in space. if you
I
think
like
about it.
even when they get like a top of the line rig right at the very end, they've still got the same strap.
Same rig,
Like,
James. We've got one
no,
set.
that technology, it never improves. It
No.
just plateaus at a high.
It's got magnet
Um,
boots.
There's adverts in this sort of space station that he's docking
Mm-hmm.
into for liquid beef, Motorola, which I thought was a weird one, and a child going, wow. So they clearly ran out of advertisements there.
We'll fix that in post. I imagine there's a lot of that in this
Yeah.
film.
Yeah. And then he docks, there's magnetic flooring, and he's got his magnetic boots on
Yeah, which is just regular boots with some tinfoil on them and walking slowly.
with a clunk, clunk, clunk.
Yeah, it was
sound.
good.
Yeah.
We also get to hear his AI assistant on this thing, which I didn't realize until the credits came up. Betty.
Yep.
Did you know who it is?
Nope.
It's the blonde lady from Hitchhiker's Guide that was going out with Zaphod
Oh,
Beeblebrox.
right. Oh, fantastic.
Sandra Dickinson. Yeah,
That's
I was
something-
like,
Oh.
because I was like, no, it can't be the same Sandra Dickinson. And
I
then
had
was
it-
like-
I had it down as the little lady out of Poltergeist. Step out of the black hole, Dennis Harper.
This house is clear. And we're introduced to one of the, henchmen of the company. And it's George Wendt. Norm's back, ladies and gentlemen.
He's fucking hench, all right.
Oh, right. This is well after Cheers, isn't it? At night 6, yeah. And he refuses to pay John Canyon because the hogs are late. Or some bollocks.
No, they're like a week late, and he said, "But you knew I was using a fucking 25-year-old thing, and you knew that, and you know I'm slow." And he's
The
like, "Yeah, but not
Pachyderm
this fucking slow."
5000.
That's the one. Jesus, he keeps going on and on about this fucking thing.
When underpay says he's underpaying him. He has 2 hired goons with him. He says, "I'll just take them and deliver them myself then, or whatever." One of the hired goons goes to swing at him, and Hopper ducks it and goes, "That's not how you punch in zero gravity."
In zero gravity, yeah.
He does it. It takes so long for him to deliver this because he's slurring about quite a bit. And I thought, why is nobody else doing anything? Just get him while
The
he's
other
doing-
hired goon is just stood there like,
He's
"Oh,
obviously just going to punch
me."
him back.
Getting a
And
lesson.
he goes, "This is how you punch him," and he attaches a wire to him and has him punched up to the ceiling. And it was quite fun. It was a nice
Yeah,
effect.
you get a CGI tooth falling out of his
Yeah.
mouth and blood and everything. It's awfully done, but
It's
I
brilliant.
appreciated it. It's of its time, isn't it? It's
And-
1996.
Yeah, I mean, we're only,
So that probably costs so much money.
we're only 2 years off that goddamn hole in the hand bit from The Crow, which looks like dog shit. Right? At least this
Yeah, it
is
does.
slightly better. And he's like, "Right, well, I'm going to dock here and we'll sort it out later," or something. I can't remember why his reason for staying is. And he goes, and I quite like this because it's kind of 2001-y, at least like the
What, the
spaceship.
space cantina?
Space, yeah. It's in a circle, so
Yeah,
all the booths are
great.
in like a big. And I
The
was like,
set-
that makes sense.
It made me feel a bit sick, like
Yeah.
the way he's walking down the set. And it's kind of tracking almost a little bit, unless it's a camera thing. But all the while I was watching this scene, I was kind of like, yeah, maybe don't need to watch this too closely.
Well, the spaceport is basically like Joe's from the IT crowd. It's a fucking like all you can eat Mexican
greasy
buffet
spoon,
thing.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's every American diner possible.
Yep.
And we're introduced to Cindy, played by Debbie Mezar, who isn't Veruca Balk.
No, I could see why you'd think that.
Because
Yeah.
it took me a second. She's wearing a cowboy hat, and it feels very TGI Fridays.
Yeah.
And she's sitting next to Stephen Dorff, who is dressed like the third Hardy brother from wrestling.
Yeah.
And he's just
Mike
got his...
Poochie.
Mike Poochie. I didn't even know he had a name. When Poochie's not on screen, we should be asking,
where's Mike
Poochie?
Poochie?
I didn't even know he had a name.
No, I didn't either.
I was just calling him Jeff Hardy all the way through my notes.
It was Rachel wasn't even watching this, and she was watching something else, and she turned about halfway through the film and she went, "Oh look, little baby Stephen Dorff there," and I was like, "Is it? Fuck,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
okay." Didn't even realise.
Why he's in this, I don't know. He has just passed his space trucker examination.
He's Space Truck School, Space Truck Academy. Yeah.
Oh, that's a film, isn't it? That's a film.
Yeah,
There's
it is.
15 films for you, right there. Yeah.
I believe the Beatbox Jones from Police Academy isn't doing much nowadays, so he can do some space noises, can't he?
I would hope so.
Well, you'd think no, because he's in Lavarantula and he's terrible in that.
Oh, is he? Oh,
Mike
no.
Poochie goes to fuck off on a job somewhere, and she grabs his meal and then hands it back to the kitchen, saying that they recycle the meals, which I thought was good.
But the thing was,
proper cringe
the
stuff.
thing was, Canyon was going to eat it.
Yeah, he was eating chips. Yeah,
because he's a. Also, we do get someone ordering a synth burger. Which I was this is fucking brilliant. At this point, I was like, this is basically Ace Trucking from 2000 AD. And I was 100% on board for it. How quickly it all went out the window. She says, I need to get to Earth, but you can't get to Earth.
She's got a procedure.
Her mum's having a procedure.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can get you to Earth, but you've got to marry me. And I was like, Dennis Hopper, you're about 50. She's what? 25 at this point?
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit weird. And he's like,
I wasn't
cool with it.
I've proposed to you loads of times. I was like, imagine when you're drunk. Yeah. Which is fine. We've all been there. Like, and he's
out
like,
the corner of his eye, though, he looks out the window and he can see his rig, and there's people detaching like the cargo from it and everything. He's like, oh shit, my stuff.
No, does he not walk past the table of other truckers who are dressed like NASCAR drivers?
All smoking as well.
Yeah, well, it's space, isn't it? You know, when you could smoke in space. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Jamie Space Oliver. And they're like, oh, we're having a funeral for, I don't know, Quedge? Somebody, I don't know.
Yeah, nobody. We're having a funeral for nobody.
He drove through the scum sector and
got killed by Captain Macadamia
nuts. And they sent back was his ball bag or something. They said
all they sent back was his dick. Says this woman, very deadpan.
The coffin is a tennis ball, and I was like, why are you burying it? You could throw it against the wall like that, but it would slap about. Anyway, so they're going to have a thing for him later, like a celebration, funeral. That's the word. And he's like, yeah, all right, I'll attend that. I think this is when he spots the thing, isn't it?
Oh, possibly, yeah.
I think
you get like sort of shots of them like giggling to themselves and doing it, and then he notices when he's talking to them, but he can't do anything about it.
Well, we cut to George to Norm, and he is talking to Poochie, and he says, "You're straight."
Can't get over his name being Poochie.
When are they going to get to the fireworks factory? And he says, okay, Poochie, I know you're fresh out of Space Driving Academy, you and Space Maureen, there's a reference. Do you want to drive these square pigs to, let's say, Jupiter or whatever? And he's like, I don't know, that's John Canyon's load. And he says, look, do you want the load? And I was going, this is getting a bit, isn't it, boys and girls? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then like Norm goes, go and pick up your pink overalls because you're only a beginner. And I was like, what? What's happening here?
Yeah, and it's just like, and then he's wearing them. It's fine. Yeah.
Well, he's sitting at this funeral. Canyon comes in and he's drinking and stuff. This is where and then he sees someone stealing his load, and Poochie's like, yeah, I'm taking it. Norm comes in, a fight ensues.
Like a proper kind of like cowboy barroom saloon fight.
Disappointed no one got like slid down the bar and then reappeared on the other side. He went all the way around. That'd have been good. And then for some reason, this hired goon, despite previously having been told not to fire a gun, A, why has he got a gun on a spaceship? And B, like, he's been told not to fire it. He shoots out one of these tiny windows, and the whole thing is like, everyone getting
massive decompression.
Yeah, which I don't think it would do that. I don't know, but
wouldn't everyone just instantly have all the air sucked out of their breath and just
I think so.
start choking?
I think you can survive in the cold recesses of space, but it's the decompression thing that you have to like breathe out.
But don't worry, because Norm is immediately he jumps up and plugs the window with his asshole.
Yeah,
what a hero!
Anus. Yeah,
and one of the highlights of his career as an actor, he's plugging this window, screaming
away, and then like I think this isn't where Poochie and Canyon are like, we'll work together as a team. And Canyon's like, I don't want that. And Poochie's like, well, tough, because I'm coming with you. And this woman is as well. Let's fucking
let's go to the ladies' bathroom immediately.
Yeah, Norm gets like I don't say turned inside out, but he gets pulled out of this tiny window arse first.
He gets
and
alien resurrection.
Yeah, he does. That was my thing. But like you see, like his legs and arms come up in front of him, like a sleeping dog, and then he just gets, and then like everyone's fine. Then after that, like, but you think for a spaceship that has been known, you'd have like doors that come down or something. Doesn't
you would have
matter.
thought so.
They're getting chased by the company.
Yeah, Canyon's like, let's go and see Mr. Zesty. The only way to see Mr. Zesty, who,
Did
by
he
the
have
way,
a
has got a
name?
fabulous name. Yeah. And oh my God, did he look like a Mr. Zesty as well? He looked like a disgraced glam rock star.
Mr.
Through and
Zesty
through.
sounds like an off-brand version of Ting.
How do you reach Mr. Zesty, anyone?
You've got to be a pervert.
Yeah.
You got to
Yes,
go
you do.
into the
You
women's
got to
toilets.
put your hand in the mouth of a screaming old woman
Who's
lift
having
her
a
head
shit.
up. Yeah.
And then inside is like a number pad that you type into, and the 4 gradually escapes down, and then she resets as well because you hear her yelling at
Yeah.
That's
The
somebody else,
cops.
yeah.
space cops.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you've said that because I just want to make sure that I didn't just fever dream that.
It is one
Yeah,
of the
it
more
is.
surreal bits.
Yeah.
of the
So
film.
weird.
It's probably my favourite bit of the film. It's so random.
Just
It's
the
like-
fact that Mr. Zesty has to go through that every day on his way to work. I'm going into ladies' stalls, screaming woman, hand
Every
inside
day,
her mouth, go
every
down
day,
the lift.
Mr. Zesty goes into the women's toilets for 8.5 hours,
I mean,
and then comes back out.
no one ever asks any questions.
No,
all of us have now seen what Mr. Zesty looks like. I can see him going into the ladies that much. Yeah, so
well, apparently,
John
like-
Canyon, he wants a loan or something to get him off that hub. And he says, well, it's problematic, John. Well, so is your criminal record, Mr. Zesty. He offers them a cargo to Earth. There's a 2-day window slot for it. And the cargo is to be left in high orbit, around Earth. And it's got a very special cargo on the manifest.
Sex robots.
Yeah.
Hey.
They say it's sex robots. Don't touch the cargo. Don't try and open it or anything. Just do as you're told. I think Poochie goes, we can't make it in 2 days. And Canyon's like, we can if we take some shortcuts. And I was like, that's not how space works.
Yeah.
Like, as the crow flies, literally, is how space works. There's no shortcut between 2 points on a dot, unless you're talking like wormholes or some shit.
Maybe
But
he was.
I don't think they've got the budget
We'll
for
never
that,
know.
mate. Yeah. Accidentally stumble into Stargate by mistake.
And Cindy's like, come on, take it. He said Earth, Earth, that's
We
where
can go to
my dead
Earth
mum
and
is,
also
my dying
sex
mum.
dolls. We can visit your dying mum. So he's like, right, I'll take it. He gets all these forged documents. They get into the rig. They're fucking about. Cindy arrives with her suitcase, which then explodes, and all her underpants are on strings as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this written by men?
Yes.
And yes, it was.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely was.
Space lingerie, Joe. Space.
Oh, yeah,
lingerie.
shit. And his
Yeah.
space suitcase.
There you go.
The reason you know it was written by men, James, because after about 30 minutes of this film, Cindy spends the rest of it in her bra and pants, doesn't she?
Which
Right?
I actually had a massive problem with, in spite of the fact that I didn't actually have a problem with it.
I'm all for.
Don't tell me how you sorted out your problem.
I'm all for being Bernard Wright on, but even I was
Yeah.
like, this is gratuitous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so they put all of her space pants back into the space suitcase, but there is a space photo of her
Yes.
space mum,
Yeah.
who looks
John
younger
Canyon
than
is-
her.
Well, that
over that.
all to be explained later
Yeah.
in the movie.
John
strangely.
Canyon's like, wow, your mum's a hot piece there. Oh,
Wow.
but that's when she was younger. Ooh,
Wowie,
I
wowie,
would
he
have done.
says.
Back in the
Wowie,
day.
wowie, indeed.
And so they go, right, let's get space going. And so
Oh, and he's also like, oh, I can see where you got your looks from. Fuck off, John Canyon, you perv.
Yeah.
Oh,
again,
creep.
I don't think Hopper had a script for this. I think
You
they
think
just
it's
pushed
just
him on
him?
set and went, just go with what's happening around you. And he was like, okay, it's a sexy lady. Yeah, she's a sexy lady. It's just fucking...
In spite of the fact him saying, "I know where you got your looks from," they look nothing alike.
No, they
These
don't.
two actors look nothing alike.
Don't worry about it. They're probably the same age as well when you look it up on
Yeah.
IMDb.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so the space cops start chasing them because they're coming out of like the dry dock, or a very, very dry dock because it's in space. And John Canyon drives dangerously, creating space debris, causing one ship to space crash.
Right? No, they're driving out of down like the space hard shoulder to get back onto the
Yeah.
motorway. Like it's really weird, and it's got like bollards, like space cat's eyes down the side of this thing.
Yeah.
And they're getting followed by the space police. The space police go, pull over, and he goes, I've got an idea. Watch this. And he like turns right, but in the way that an 18-wheeler would. Like it doesn't make sense space-wise. And I'm not like poo-pooing that, but it's 3-dimensional space. You can't turn right. There's no. But as he turns right, he manages to clip like coolly one of these cat's eyes that spins out. Space explodes one of the space cops. The other 2 space cops give chase, but then are told to stand down. And one of them just goes, I love obeying rules.
Oh, yeah. And I was kind of like, all right, bootlicker.
What's that about?
It comes to nothing obeying rules.
I thought we were going to get like an Austin Powers thing when it cuts back to him going home and his wife's like, hard work, day at work today. And he's like, I followed the rules.
Yeah.
It was, now we eat you Soylent Green. It was really, really, there was a lot of like odd non sequiturs throughout this that never came to fruition, which makes me think the whole thing was improvised.
Mike Poochie's all like, that's the best goddamn driving I've ever seen. And Dennis Hopper says, well, just put the pedal to the metal and play footsie with fate, son. That's how you end up with 5 wives.
Apparently, yeah.
So yeah, they continue driving off the approved highways.
Yeah, they
space
stop for
highways.
lunch is the next scene where they have saliva-activated cappuccino and eggs.
That's for breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 separate tubes I'd want. One for eggs, one for cappuccino. Not both together, because I don't eat eggs and cappuccino simultaneously. Also, why was he eating hot dogs before? Yet they've got to eat like toothpaste now.
That's a very good point.
Himself,
yeah, I did notice on the hot dogs, by the way, I forgot to mention earlier on, it says on them, do not feed to pets. It was called a circle dog, do not feed to pets. And I was like, okay. Now, I know America has got some terrible food standards, but wow.
Well, it's there. Space America, though.
Space America.
It's even worse. It's full of all alien meat.
Spam-America.
I think the main point of this was to showcase the microwave, because that comes up as a weapon later on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's very good. And they enter a spaceship graveyard.
This is the
scum cluster.
The scum cluster.
Or as I've written here, Preston.
Hey. Yeah, I thought we were going to get, because he's like, what are all these ships? And he's like, some of them crashed, some of them. I thought we were going to get like a Sirens Red Dwarf thing or something. No, they're driving along.
Dave Chance's sister.
Like one big juicy peach. And they're driving along, and he's like, oh, there's asteroids, but we can outmaneuver them because I'm a great space truck driver. And then the sat nav, the onboard computer goes, incoming meteorites. And like, this was the bit I didn't get. He's like, black rock. And it's like, well, the thing about space is that it's black.
Yeah.
And the thing about black holes is that they're black.
Yeah. She says, like, was it asteroids?
Yeah, they were black.
Where are the asteroids?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's BlackRock, the investment company. What are you talking about? And then this thing just rolls towards them, which technically would be an asteroid.
Blackpool souvenir shop. Yeah, it comes towards them. They do some evasive maneuvers, but unfortunately, the top of the cab gets dinged, which like breaks the life support machine, and the damage report machine gets damaged, so no one knows. And like, to try and save it, they're gonna cut the cargo loose so they can maneuver into the shadow of a rock to cool it down.
That's
and
right.
I'm like, and I'm like, there's no sun. Where's the heat coming from?
Yeah.
It's something to do with the cooler is bust, so I assume it's like the engine is red hot or something. I don't know.
It didn't make sense.
It didn't make a whole lot of sense, no.
Tanyan goes out to go and fix this. Poochie's like, I'll come and help. And he's like, you stay inside, Poochie. And
yeah,
goes,
you look after the dame. You look after the dame.
This is a job for a man, is what he says. So
I'm Canyon. Mannion. And so he goes out to like try and cut the cargo loose.
Because I was like, what is he doing? Why is he cutting the cargo loose? I was really confused by this.
He did say so they can use the maneuvering thrusters to
maneuver
get
in the
into
thrusting motion.
Get into the shade of one of the spinny rocks or some bollocks. Yeah. Again, don't worry about it. It's just a series of actions that happen this film.
Yeah.
Like in the meantime, Cindy and Poochie decide to take all their clothes off in zero gravity, like that Kylie Minogue video.
Yeah. Oh, babe, my shirt's really chafing me. Oh, now my pants are chafing me.
And it's kind of like weirdly gratuitous, but apparently this is one of the few films by this director that doesn't have nudity in it. So he managed to like rein it in for this.
I mean, I did think it was going that way, especially when the sweet sax music kicked in.
Yeah. No, that was just Dreamscape invading that.
and then John Canyon calls to Mike on his thing, and he goes, "I'm gonna have to try cranking it off." Oh, I think I might have to start doing the same thing myself.
They're all sweaty, like frolicking about in the 0G thing or whatever. Canyon tries to like pry open or pry off one of these things, and that thing from like the Mandalorian on the door appears, and he's like, pew, 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 pew. Fires a load of lasers at him, which he manages to like backflip out of the way of or something.
Yep.
And he arrives back in. He's like, "Nah, I can't do it. Why is everyone in the nude? Sorry, when did I missed that memo?" And they're like, "Oh, it's just because it's so hot." You know, Hopper doesn't take his top off.
No,
he says, I think it's a cheesy way of catching a look at my fiance's tits.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a bit of on-the-nose dialogue.
Did he say cadging, really?
I don't think so, no.
I believe so.
I'm going to choose to believe that he did. And he goes,
I was incredibly ill throughout all of this.
He says, right, well, we're going to die, so I'm going to pull down this space beer, and we're going to drink that and die. And they're all like, fair enough, we tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas.
Yeah, they're all like, nice beer.
Space beer. And then, and this big fuck off ship appears with a skull and crossbones on it because pirates in space, space pirates. And it eats this ship like, oh, what, a whole submarine? Everybody do this with your hand. And it eats them.
Open a bush.
And they're like, oh, this is the so-and-so thing. It went missing years ago. And he's like, no, it was taken by pirates. It eats them. He finds his one gun that he's got. Because Canyons uses his brains to get out of situations, apparently. They get... Poochie tries to take the gun off him. And he's like, no, we're going to get out of this with our wits and our charming personalities or something. Fucking what's he called from Commando appears.
Vernon Wells.
Bennett. Yeah.
Bennett, the guy that gets the pipe through him.
Yeah.
He appears.
Bennett.
And he's got like he's fell asleep and his kid's drawn on his face with a biro.
He is an old friend of this podcast because he's missed a cut in this. But Vernon Wells, the actor, has appeared in another podcast episode of ours, Christmas Collision, as Ronan, the escrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Oh, bloody escrow. It's all about escrow, isn't it?
I've had it explained to me several times. I still don't understand.
Neither did he. He didn't let that stop him.
He went on to be a successful space pirate
with shit on his face. He looks like one of those. He looks like one of those modern rappers. God, I'm so old. He looks
one
like
of those rapping men.
Takeshi 6ix9ine or whatever's going on there. So it looks like.
Is this your Craig Charles fan fiction?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. No.
And they're like, you need to come and see the boss. Come with us. This ship's ours now. And they take him, like, they chain them up to a post, which is, again, weird. And they're like, oh, it says the thing is sex robots. What is it really? Drugs?
Now, did anybody get the voice in the background throughout all of this?
No.
Oh,
my favorite character, my favorite off-screen character of all time.
It's proper. Fucking hell from Father Ted.
Because they're like, so what's the cargo? And they're like, we don't know. And then there's this man in the background like, oh, you don't know? And then they stun him. Like, they get this taser and, like, have a go on his natters.
He takes his balls.
And this man in the background's like, oh, he got stunned on the dick.
He's literally the best thing in it, and we don't even know who it is. I imagine it was the caterer or something. He was just yelling.
He says, is it drugs or is it guns? I like drugs best. And I think the other guy's like, I like guns best. Which do you like best, James? Drugs or guns?
I like the thing in the background that was like, I like drugs.
Okay, all right, okay. I'm for that. That's fine.
He all the way through it. Whenever there's like a group scene, there's just fucking out in the background of all of it, and it's brilliant. The captain comes down, and he is dressed like a cross between a Gestapo officer and Judge Death.
Yeah.
And he's got like a robot peg leg and a cigar and a robot eye. We can see. And dun dun dun, as it turns out, it is Charles Dance. He survived the assault from the sexy bottom robot, and is now captain of this pirate ship.
Yeah, he's reinvented himself.
He has, successfully.
As a Nazi pervert.
He's got a crew of 341 men.
Yes.
He knows them all intimately.
I bet he does.
He's like, well, we're going to kill you, and we're going to take your cargo, unless... Oh, like he wipes Cindy with like a cloth and then sniffs it, and he's like, I was like,
He says, strong, distinctive, and not offensive body odor.
Yeah, I think that was Brute's original advertising slogan.
I've written here, that's absolutely disgusting. And then I've written something about £14,000 on eBay for the actual prop or something. Get bank loan to obtain. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure what that is.
You two can have a Debbie Mazer sweaty rag for just $1,400.
I would buy 6, lads. I'll be honest.
It was just really, and he's got like a hook, like a grabby claw for a hand as well.
Yeah,
like a Lego man grabby hand though, not like a cool.
Give him the clamps.
No, yeah, like a clamps.
I was expecting to have some sort of Abu Al Hamza hook.
Oh no, I was expecting to have to put things into his other hand like a Lego character. Like he can only pick up circular things.
Yeah.
He's like, I will let you survive. I'll let you go if you come and do a sex on me to her. And she's like, yeah, all right, whatever. I've done worse for less. Yeah. So he's like, hey, we're off, lads. They go upstairs and they're fucking about with the storage unit, with the cargo, like banging it with a shovel and like stuff. And the fucking laser things appear and start shooting at him. One of the drugs or guns lads gets shot. And his other mate rescues him and goes, what's that smell? It smells like hamburgers. And he goes, no, it's you, Dennis. Oh, whatever. And I'm like, what is this little stats homosexual relationship they had going on here? I need to know more about this. But no, alas, he dies. He dies.
He dies.
And the only thing that can stop these is a man at point blank range firing a bazooka at it.
Yeah.
Which, again, space.
And meanwhile,
pressurized environments.
Meanwhile, Charles Dance sex scene. Who wants to take us through this fun little bit?
This is Oscar worthy. Why this didn't get so he takes up to his boudoir, space boudoir.
It is a boudoir. He has that the rest of the time, just like that, like velour sheets and stuff.
Oh, that bed rotates, goes up and down, all sorts.
Oh, I bet it does.
And he's like starts taking his gear off and explaining that like he survived getting twatted by SAGs.
Yeah.
But he had to rebuild himself. He rebuilt his own brain and his arm, and for some reason, both his bum cheeks. Because he turns around, he's taking his clothes off, like, and she's just lay on the bed, like, yeah, all right, whatever. And he's got like 2 like metal liquid-filled bum cheeks, and I'm like, okay. He's got like a green half torso bit. And like half a brain, you can see that his brain with Christmas tree lights underneath.
Yeah,
it looks pretty good.
It looks 1996.
96,
okay.
Yeah, it's practical special effects, which is if that was now, it'd just be it'd all be painted green, and you wouldn't know.
Yeah,
but it's exactly. Poor Charles Dance had to sit there while they sellotaped all this shit to him every day.
It took 6 hours to apply all of this.
Bollocks! Who was doing it? Abu Hamza. Oh, I'm sorry, Charles Dance. I don't know why he's Welsh. And then he's like, right, let's get it on. And he pulls like a
Flymo.
Like a chainsaw start, I think. That's his cock, right?
Yeah.
And it goes, and it starts going, and he's like, I have a Throbomatic 4000 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Designed to give pleasure to ladies. And she's like, okay. Sure. And then it stalls. And, we've all been there, gentlemen. But I thought this was, like, genuinely pretty funny. Because he's like, oh, this has never happened. Just give me a second. And he's yanking away on this thing. And I'm like, oh, it's like a Euro trash, this. And she's like, oh, I bet, don't worry, it happens to all robots.
Yeah.
He eventually gets it working and like pushes her down and is like, what does he say? Lie back and think of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does he know that she's from Brooklyn? Also, why has he got an
The
aubergine
accent,
good luck
James.
charm that she has to like bat out of the way?
Well, you see, that comes into play later on
Mhm.
because that is the control
Yeah.
for the sex robots, isn't it? You see?
I honestly didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought it was just an aubergine, but
because-
what do I know?
But there
I
are
thought
issues.
it was, thematic of his problems, but yeah.
That's his actual penis that he found in a tennis ball that was thrown into space. Yeah, and and then she like for some reason like pulls a tube out, and
She
it must
tugs
be
on
like,
a pipe,
Yeah.
but the wrong pipe.
it must be it must be the load bearing pipe because his arms and his legs and his bum cheeks fall off,
Yeah.
and he's rolling around the floor like a turtle on its back. And she's like, "Yeah, you guys steals all his gear and fucks off. Comes out of the lift while Canyon's having his balls shot by one of the bad guys. And for some reason, he thinks this person is the captain, despite being a clear 1.5 feet shorter and a woman.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Why, Captain, how suddenly curvaceous you've become.
Wow, you smell not unpleasant of body odor. So she's like, free them. I'm going to kill them myself or something. It's a good, like, get out of jail thing that like they do in these sort of films. But she should have nicked his leg, at least, or something, because then he'd be fucked. We have to hop everywhere. Like, that'd be fun. But he comes downstairs and he's like, "Oh, you could have been my concubine, but now I'm going. Now you're going to get to know all my men, all 341 of them in random order."
Oh yeah.
I was like, it's fine. They cut open with the use of this big like oxyacetylene cannon into one of these things. They push Tube Man from Commando, Blueface, and the other guy in. And then he follows them in, and one of these robots activates. Oh, well, he says, doesn't it? Oh, these are my robots. Ha, 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 ha. Now I've got them all. I can rule the world. And he squeezes one of these bags that they activate with, and he goes, we've got Sags by his shriveled ball sack or something. And I was like, this is strange, unpleasant. But one of them's free, and it proceeds to murder Charles Dance again. So that's second death, if you keep count. And these two other guys, despite the fact Charles Dance has around his neck the fucking remote control to turn them off.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
We're into the last 30 minutes of this film.
Yeah, this was the boringest bit. Like,
Yeah.
Space sexual assault was the worst bit. They escape somehow. Everyone's getting murdered by this robot. They manage to escape and set off, but unfortunately the load is still attached to the rig. So they're hurtling through space with their Alton Towers life vests on. And Cindy says, "Do you hear something knocking back there that sounds like knocking back there?"
Oh, I've written that because I love that line.
And I was like, that's
a
brilliant.
brilliant line.
You got to say it in a New York accent, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's all this knocking back there that sounds like knocking back
It's
there?
useless knockings back there. And so they go back into this thing. They put their spacesuits on. But Charles Dance is still alive in this thing, despite the fact there's a hole cut in the side of it. So there'd be no anyway. And he explains that he created these things. They can be deactivated with this. They come in waves of 1, 2, 4, 8. They tell 2 friends and so on and so on. And you can't let them get to Earth because they'll murder everyone. It's Sags' fault. Sags is the head of the company. And they're like, oh, okay. Sweet, I guess.
Yeah.
They give him a cigar, and he lights it, and I'm like, again, we're in space, whatever. But then Canyon says, like, for an asshole, he died like a man or something.
Yeah. Okay.
It feels like they just let a computer write bits of the script.
What, you mean the classic line, if I had an anus, I'd probably soil myself?
Oh, we've missed the line. How about Terry or Lee or something neutral? It was a joke he mentioned about cutting somebody's dick off.
Yeah.
So we'll call you Terry or Lee or something neutral. Ouch.
Yeah.
We know which side of the culture wars Dennis Hopper will be on then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he's dead now, so it doesn't matter because he's dead.
Every cloud.
So they're hurtling through space to get to Earth.
Yep.
for some reason. I don't know.
They're still heading to Earth. They've still got to take the cargo, I guess.
Why? Why wouldn't you just like razz it into a planet?
They can't detach it, can they? So they're stuck with it.
Razz it into a planet. Set it autopilot.
I mean, that would be a better idea than what they come up with, but yeah.
Which is
their idea is to just
fulfill their job.
Yeah. So they're just waiting for stuff to activate at this point while they hurtle towards Earth. They shot another few off, and they realize that because I think this is the
They shut down 2 of them, and then 4 of them attacked. So they killed 2 of them. One by Dopey, one by Sleepy. How many? No, like one of them gets a microwave on the head. I remember that.
Yes.
I think they paused 2 of them, and then 2 of them come through the truck window.
Yes, because so Canyon says to Cindy, I'm afraid I'm going to have to tell you to suit up, which is a shame. But there's a big red button, and if something happens, I want you to not press it, but phone me or something like that I didn't fully understand.
It doesn't matter, but it comes through. Like Cindy gets trapped in like the spinny door that is the airlock. But then one of these sex robots turns into like a fucking like weird manga thing, and all tendrils start coming out. And I didn't like that because that's Canyon microwaves one of them and doesn't even say anything like, "Oh, still cold on the inside" or anything cool like that.
Yeah, he missed. Yeah, it's Dennis Hopper. He's not really got any of that.
I know, but Poochie like sprays it with liquid oxygen.
Yeah, it goes to shoot him, but then it does like a Terminator over screen thing, and it's like, oh no, if I kill him here, then that'll damage the ship. I need to get to Earth. So it goes after her instead. So he gets like a liquid nitrogen thing, shoots it up the back.
It also pulls out like a massive like blade, and he goes, "It's got a Swiss Army knife." Again, brilliant film. It is. They freeze it and it dies, and like that's that one. I think they then like are near Earth now because why not? And
it's confirmed now. Biomechanical super warriors can only be stopped by items found in a Heston Blumenthal kitchen.
They're going to put him in a Ban Marie next. Or something. Get him high on whippets.
They realise now that the next wave is going to be 8 of them.
Yeah.
So it's getting more and more hardcore.
So Canyon's like, you two get in the escape pod, which is essentially a small ship at this point, and make your way to Earth. I'm going to back this into low orbit so that it burns up on re-entry or something.
Yeah, that's it. He wants to burn up the robots in the back.
Robots,
and he'll possibly also go with them, but they'll definitely die.
Oh no, because he goes, I've got some explosives, and he opens a box that's got explosives written on it. And
it's like, these are not chupacabras. You can't just C4 your way out of every situation.
You can't explode shit in space. It needs oxygen, I'm fairly sure. He's like, I'm going to explode the coupling, and then they'll drift off into orbit and burn up, and I'll be fine.
Oh, speaking of coupling, you two should get married when you get back down there.
Why are you obsessed with marrying everyone, John?
He's like, I'm sorry I sprung that on you, but you two should get married. And then he keeps on about that for the rest of the film.
Does he own a bridal wear shop or something? Does he really love fucking flower arranging?
Coming soon to a Hallmark channel near you.
John Canyon. Oh, nice tits. Lovely dress. John Canyon's Yorkshire wedding shop. So he goes out into space in his spacesuit with the wires again. Puts these explosions on it. 8 of these bad bastards appear and are like, coming at him. But a lot slower and a lot less focused than they were earlier. Like, the more of them there are, the stupider they seem to be.
You manage just to blow one of them up with C4 somehow. It's stupid enough to actually stand near some. It's like, doesn't understand what it is.
They operate on, like, Power Rangers logic of, like, only attacking one at a time instead of just swarming him and ripping him to shreds. But whatever. And he's like, that's me done for. But luckily, the escape ship has turned around and has like ignites its thrusters and burns them all. But somehow Canyon survives because he's such a cool customer.
Well, he's doing that I surrender sort of thing, and then as the blasters come up, then he turns his hands into middle
flips them off.
Take that. You robot
Don't tread
bastards.
on me. Yeah. It's a very strange film. They crash land on Earth, and Canyon is like, we're going down. I'm going to take it into the atmosphere and I'll survive. So
as this other wave sort of activates and starts crawling all over the ships, there must be like 16 of them at this point.
Technically, yes. Cindy and Poochie get out of the thingy, which is rammed into the ground without escaping. Like,
That was a hard landing.
that was
wasn't it?
someone's lost like 2 inches in height when they've landed there, and it compressed the spine right down. And they're like, "Oh, there he is." And I think Cindy goes, "Hello, John." And I'm like, he can't see you, can he? But then
As he's going like a fucking comet across the sky as well.
he's burning it up on re-entry. And he explodes. And they go,
like-
"Oh no, John!"
It's like Challenger
R.I.P.
style explodes in the sky.
It is. Yeah.
It is bad.
Too soon.
Like no one's parachuting out of that.
Well, apparently they are.
I don't know where. Like, I was like, did he parachute from the top of the atmosphere? 'Cause,
Yeah, it's that man Felix Baumgartner. or whatever
Baumgartner,
he's called.
yeah. And he comes he comes in like that, and he's like, "Oh, it's fine. We've solved that problem now." And we cut to a hospital. Oh, I think he says, "Are you two getting married yet?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Let it go, John. Have you just become ordained and you want to do a marriage? Is that like what is the reason for it?" He just loves weddings.
It does.
He's like,
likes
"Oh,
cake.
fuck off! I've got to go and see my mum. Right? Remember, she's having a procedure. Sort of.
We're
thing.
gonna go to
There's the
somewhere in
futuristic city news says that they've saved the planet, so everyone knows that this has happened.
and we got to somewhere in Ireland's town hall, apparently.
Yeah.
Reliably informed
Yeah.
by Mono that that's an Irish town hall somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I think this was all filmed in and around Ireland.
Yes.
Irish space. So, like, directly above Ireland in the stratosphere. And we meet Cindy's mum, who is exactly the same as she looked in the picture.
Yeah.
And she explains that she had a disease that they couldn't cure, so they froze her until they could cure it, but
Yeah.
she didn't age.
I've put here the old thaw and cure. I don't know if that was their term for it or whether I invented that.
potato, in it with that. Like, and Hopper goes, "Sweet, let's get married."
Yeah, you're
Fucking
fit.
hell. And then literally 3 of NSYNC walk in. Like these presidential guards with the best uniform. They've got Ali G glasses on. They've got like, it's great. They like
The Elvis clone police, yeah.
and they're like, "We're clearing the room because the president's coming in." And Cindy goes, "The president of the world?" No, the president, the French cheese.
It's good though that even in the future, the president of the world is an old white man.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah.
And it turns out that it's Sags.
Yeah, President Sarg.
President Sags. He took over from the last guy who died recently or something,
Government's
implying
been privatized. Yeah, he's taken over that week.
Yeah, I think it sort of implies that Sags has offed him or something somehow.
Yeah.
And he says, "What I don't want is you going flapping your gums about this to people. So we've got you a new rig, John."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Sweet. Is it a Pachyderm 5000?" And he goes, "It's better than a box." Fucking hell. We're going to cover your mum's medical bills, and here's a very small suitcase full of future money. Space money.
Because healthcare hasn't been sorted in the future either. That's still a
it's fine.
problem.
We're not surprised.
No.
And he goes, "I trust I can," and like Canyon's like, yeah, we'll keep quiet. Like Poochie whispers something to him, and he goes and like shushes him. Sags leaves, and then Poochie and like Canyon have a fight about it, and he's like, "No, the world must know." And Canyon's like, "No, it's fine. Like we can get away from this scot-free and never have to like worry again."
Yeah,
which is odd because Canyon now has become like, "Oh
The
no,
man.
we'll take the money," and yeah, he's become everything he hated.
Yeah,
And Mike Poochie's like, "No, fuck the money. I'm an anarchist now."
I'm not.
What
What
is
is
it?
Oh, what is it? He says, "I'm not a company bum boy."
yeah. I was
I've forgotten about that.
He says it a couple of times, and I was like, "Ooh, it's 96, I guess it was like."
Yeah.
He throws this suitcase out of the window.
Which was a tad theatrical, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Poochie lives for the drama. And it cuts down to Sags getting into his space car, and he's got a very big remote control, and he goes, boop, as this suitcase lands on the roof, and it explodes, implying that he was going to kill them all anyway,
Yeah.
but he's dead now. And then it cuts to them on a launch pad to go into space.
Go into space.
So he had sorted them out a rig, but was going to explode them anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Who knows?
They're all there. They're gonna have like a weird foursome in space sort of situation. Cindy's mum's like, "I've never been into space before. Am I gonna shit my pants?" And John Canyon goes, "Yeah, probably." And then it ends.
Hey.
Yeah.
And I was like, this has been tremendous.
It's
If you want
certainly
a
a
film
movie.
that has a plot, don't watch this. If you want stuff where things are happening constantly, bright shapes, moving colours, a
Yeah.
lot of that going on, this is great. If you've got like the attention span of like a Doberman,
If you want to see Charles Dance debasing himself for
if you want
money,
to see Charles Dance pulling a speaking spell that is attached to his cock, I fucking love this. It's the campest thing ever,
Yeah.
and I don't think it was supposed to be.
No, because it's bright colours, so I assume it's supposed to be.
But again, I don't know who it was for. But James, your score?
I'm going to give this 3 gold square pigs. I like this.
Oh,
It's not Aftermath good. I'm not giving it the full whack, but it's up there. It's definitely up there.
Mark.
1 silver bottle of pop bottle of piss that's been thrown out the window.
That's high for
onto
you.
the motorway.
Trucker's
It
tank.
is, yeah.
Space piss.
Yeah. It is high for me. Yeah, I'm usually very, very unkind. It's not a great film, but it's certainly
It's
one of the better things we've
entertaining.
watched.
That's the thing.
Well, I think it could probably do with being about 20 minutes shorter.
If they cut out all the stuff on the pirate shit,
Yeah.
that would have just had it there. I'm with James. I'm going to give it 3 solid gold electric shocks to the balls.
Ah, right. Very good.
Again, it's on Prime. You wanted to do this, Mark. You
No, I
remember-
did. No, but I think the thing is, I've always looked at it and gone, I bet that's a lot of fun. And I don't know, it just didn't live up to 20 years of expectations for me.
there was a lot of like problematic stuff in there, like the
Yeah.
lady
Oh,
being
yeah.
nude for a lot of it.
Yeah, and you know
Um,
me. I don't really go for that stuff.
Nah.
It's not what I've heard. That was Space Truckers 1996. Actually got released 97, but we'll say 96 because that's the same year as Santa with Muscles, the Hulk Hogan Christmas film.
Wow.
What? Really?
Yep.
Wow.
What a year.
What
What a year.
Again, the Oscars must have been a nightmare that year.
Yeah, I had my 6th birthday party at a KFC that year. It was brilliant.
And these came out. What a year!
Budget was 25 million, making it the costliest independent production made to date in Ireland, and that's about $50 million today. So it had a huge budget. They expected big things from this. 25 million is enough to afford 2 of the most expensive trucks ever sold, the Thor 24, which went for 12 million at an auction in Riyadh. It has the most horsepower of any rig in the world. The power of 3,974 horses.
That's a lot of horses.
That's a lot of horses.
Wow!
I believe that's how it works.
All the horses.
The power of horses, like the spirit, not just the physical strength.
Have you seen
Apparently-
this thing?
It is
I've not,
intense. And it
Wow.
says Thor on the side of it.
It's like if Optimus Prime was compensating for having a tiny Transformer cock.
It will reach a peak speed of about 130 miles per hour, and at that point it would require 4 drag parachutes to deploy out of the rear bumper to stop it.
Do it in space, mate.
But
Yeah.
that's not how parachutes work.
So yeah, a couple of them. It was shot at the Ardmore Studios in Dublin, apparently to get some tax breaks, but it went massively over time and budget because of the amount of studio space and CGI that it required that just weren't available where it was done.
Just one Irish guy with a Commodore 64. I'll be there in a minute.
It then went on to make just $2 million because it failed to get distribution in the US, and it eventually went straight to VHS.
Oh,
I think it just missed its moment, and it ran up so many debts and stuff that it went out at the wrong time. Written, produced, and directed by the late Stuart Gordon of Reanimator and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids fame. 2 very different films. Clearly has a thing about privatization because I've noticed he's got a 1992 film, Fortress.
yeah. Lambert.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Private underground prison fortress where the inmates are computer controls with CCTV, dream readers, and devices that can cause pain or death. Apparently, the protagonist and
like my wife.
his illegally pregnant wife are inside but want to escape before birth. I watched
Illegally pregnant sounds like
It's a
up
new
the
concept to me. Anyway, John Canyon, Dennis Hopper, of course, was in the middle of a defamation case when this was made with Rip Torn. He tried to get out of the court case. It was a defamation thing, going back to Easy Rider, I think. And he tried to offer him a role in this film, I think as Charles Dance's character.
No,
as
Norm.
Yeah.
Rip Torn turned down the role because, as his lawyer explained, there was a proposal, but it just didn't make sense for us.
Bit like this film. It doesn't make any sense.
I think they read the script and they were like, no.
There appears to be several pages missing.
I'll finish on Charles Dance because I was incredibly ill throughout all of this and didn't make it very far. Quite a lot of the actors and actresses have just been in a lot of stuff, so that's absolutely fine, but there's nothing particularly interesting to it. However, I was like, why is Charles Dance in this film? He's now very well known, but Dance has claimed at this point his movie career was in a bit of a slump, and he says that it's because he stayed in Britain in the 1980s when the film industry was going through the doldrums, rather than moving to America. So he accepted the role, he says, for the sheer fun of it. I should probably do it in his accent, shouldn't I? It was one of the most entertaining scripts I've been offered in years. The straighter you play it, the funnier it becomes. He also told The Independent on Sunday that I really liked it when I saw it at first, which was a relief. So there you go. He really liked it.
I was going to say
I'm glad because I enjoyed it.
He's hamming it up. Yeah, he's
chewing
the fucking scenery.
It was purposefully targeted at the 18 to 24 demographic, and he was like, "That's what it's for." So I don't know.
No, it needs to be targeted at like the 12 to 16 horny boy market.
Yeah. It's not his lowest rated film, though. That honour goes to Forbidden Kingdom, a 2014 Romanian film where he is credited as Charles Dance. Shit, you not. It's about a British scientist in 18th century Transylvania and genuinely contains such quotes as, "Chalk is the most important thing we own. I wouldn't send an enemy with diarrhea here."
Oh, well, we've got another film to watch.
Wow!
Chalk is the most important thing. It's one guy with the box of cola going, "I am king!"
And thus, James Fax is razzed up to full erection for another time.
So, as you can guess with this, there's a lot of, this film is great, 10 out of 10s and stuff. So I've gone for 1s out of 10. People who can't even appreciate it on a high camp value sort of thing. Not Worth Your Time by Merkel Kranz 22. Square pigs as a way of efficiently utilizing cargo space is the one and only clever moment in Space Truckers. Believe it or not, Dennis Hopper has done worse. See, The American Way. But this movie is way up there on the cream of the crap scale.
Ugh.
I think the best way to describe the viewing experience is that Space Truckers will please no one. Too cartoon-like to be taken seriously, an almost lack of humour and poor character development virtually assures disappointment. The beer and popcorn crowd might tolerate one viewing, but all others have been warned to avoid Space Truckers for the above reasons. And then he signed it, Merc.
Oh, wow.
Angela Merkel Kranz. Well, we three live in proof that
Green
some
Puff
people
Merkel.
like it.
It was an answer smash question the other day, that. Green Puff Merkel. No, and finally, just because this sounds threatening, 1 out of 10, Absolute Yeech by Michael Steinbach 29. I must admit that this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I thought Dennis Hopper had a little more taste than to appear in this kind of yeech. That must be his thing.
Yeah.
If this is supposed to be funny, then I gotta look around again for a new sense of humour. If you're thinking of buying this movie, you'd better think again. Because Steinbeck will come round your house and he'll fucking do you.
I would totally
Are you
get
watching
this for the
Space
commentary.
Truckers? I've
told you before.
It's got interviews with the cast and all sorts.
I was trying to find if there was like on YouTube or something like a making of documentary. There must be. It's a big money production in Ireland. There must be a making of. All I got was like the miniatures stuff, and I was like, nah, that's not going to be very interesting. But yeah, that is the reviews of it. I thoroughly enjoyed this. It's probably one that I will watch again when I'm a bit drunk, just because it's one of the ones you can sort of laugh at all the way through, but it's a good, what is it that Mono call it? A good party film.
Yeah.
Yeah, something to throw on in the background when you're having a few drinks.
Yeah, and you can just go, this bit coming up here.
Yeah.
Look out, you can see the wires. Yeah. In conclusion, that was 1996's Space truckers. Gentlemen, your favourite lines from the film?
I'm going to have to try cranking it off.
Strong, distinctive, and not offensive body odour.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.
I got 14 pages now. Fuck you.